sometimes I get confused because I just sometimes miss like information you just put out. I sometimes miss that and don't really try to get them to see my side. And like, well, there's a hierarchy here because you're talking about one thing, but you're missing level 1, 2, 3. Because the meritocracy, the economics, and all that, you can't talk about what you're talking about and miss those things first. Because those things came first. Those things have to happen for us to even be here. Because things just are not just ideas. We gotta have a lot of other systems in place. And a lot of times it's like they don't understand that there's systems in place that allow this thing to keep going and going and going. And, and something else that I wanted to talk about is you brought up openness, and this is just something that just came in my head. You talk about the left has a high degree of openness relative to conservatives. Where does openness, when it comes down to being less practical and more impulsive, correlate with happiness or unhappiness? And does openness correlate to more prone to addiction? Because when you think about impulsive behavior and you think about being less practical, can that also be, something that can lead into addictive behavior that's not necessarily in a positive light?
Well, of course. Well, that's why the most liberal cities in America tolerate high drug addiction and high drug usage. You look at a place like Portland, where they're trying to roll it back now because they see that it doesn't work. They've experimented with just letting hardcore drugs just go rampant. I mean, and there's plenty of videos now, because one thing I love about the internet is now the lies can only go but so far. Right. Before, when the mainstream media was honest and legit, they told the truth because the truth was important and it was a place of truth seeking. But now they're more sensational seeking, so they don't mind bending the truth. And because they can get away with it. But they can only get away with it so far because we have the internet now and people can actually put things on video. So there's an accountability. People can record it, get it on video and show it. So when you experiment in Portland for things like, they have high openness to drug usage, people with high openness, they showed studies that show that they have high tolerance for openness to experience and even openness to drug usage and hard drug usage, and openness to all sorts of things that essentially are not bad for you. The studies do show that. So again, when you see places like Portland or other places that experiment with hard drugs and it doesn't work, and there's plenty of videos, and YouTubers who make YouTube videos have been to Portland and have seen streets and blocks that just look like apocalypse. It just looks like zombie. It just looks like Resident Evil. I mean, you walk down the street and everybody's a zombie. It looks like Resident Evil. So it doesn't work. And it's funny, because that video, you can show a video like that and then actually have the YouTuber go interview the people of that city, highly left-leaning. Portland's one of the most left-leaning progressive cities in America, and ask people, what do you think about this? And most of them, just about all of them, have a more supportive perspective of it all than criticizing it. And even though you can see that they're having difficulty with not saying that it's wrong, because at the end of the day, the chemical imbalance in the brain, the psychological prison in which all of us are in, is controlling the emotion, in which the emotion is controlling the behavior. And while they know it's not rational to do, okay, you ask a person who has high disinhibition, which is the inability to control your emotions, which left-leaning people have higher than conservative. There's many videos of left-leaning people being interviewed, and they just start getting violent and punching the person in the face. This has been going on for years. There was one video viral not that long ago, a guy holding a sign where he says abortion is murder, and then he's having a polite conversation with the
Oh
woman,
yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
and then all of a sudden she hits him in the face with the milk stain. She starts swinging and punching him, trying to kick him, and he restrains her and just puts her down on the ground. Like, stop. What are you doing? Off a simple conversation. Now, if you ask that woman, why did you do that? She won't know. She'll just say, well, I didn't like the conversation. Well, why did you get violent? Well, I don't know. I don't. So there, she's controlled by the impulse. She's controlled by the impulse. And with left-leaning people, they have high intolerance for hearing ideas or things that are opposite of what they believe. It directly spikes the impulse. And then they go into a rage and they get violent. This is why they can't even have these type of conversations, because they want to get violent. They just want to shoot something up, or they just want to choke somebody or get violent or punch the guy in the face by just asking simple questions. Simple questions. And they just want to take something and bash the guy's brains out or kill somebody off of a simple question.